Hey Bobcats, I had this great question emailed to me. This is the first question on the Google form from Tuesday. I would like to show you how to solve this a few different ways. So this is what the problem looks like. Now, these are the names. These points help us name the angles, but they don't help us solve it. So what I did is I drew it a second time without all of them on there. Nice and simple and clean now. Okay, so there are several different ways you could solve this problem. I'm going to start by going over one method for solving this problem. Sometimes it's helpful if you ignore some lines. For example, if I ignore this line right here, I can see that this angle, 115, and this angle over here are vertical angles, which means they're equal to each other. So let me say that again, and actually I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to say this whole angle right here and this whole angle right here are vertical angles. Okay, so this one and this one. Okay. So if they are vertical angles, what do we know about vertical angles? We know that the measure of those angles is equal. These two angles are congruent, meaning that the measure here and here will be the same. So we can say 115 degrees is equal to x, this angle here x, plus this angle here x plus x. All right, now that we have our algebraic equation set up, we can go ahead and solve it. So this is going to be 115, x plus x is 2x. Divide both sides by 2. And you get that x is equal to 7.5. Okay, so that means this angle right here is 57.5 degrees, and this angle right here is 57.5 degrees. All right? Okay, that is one way of looking at it. The next way of looking at it, I'm sorry, excuse me a moment. Luke, can you please be quiet? I'm trying to record a video. Sorry about that. My son is deciding to be an opera singer as I'm trying to explain this. All right, next way of looking at this. Okay, like I said, there's so many different ways of looking at it. You can look at this without any of that first, okay? So what does this look like? This looks like a straight line and two angles, which means these are supplementary. So we can find the measure of this angle right here by saying 115 degrees plus some measure, we'll call it y, is equal to 180 degrees. Then we can go ahead and solve this. I'm going to subtract 115 from both sides. And I get that y is equal to 65 degrees. Okay? All right. So we have a bit of information there that's going to help us. Now we can cover up some lines over here. What do we have? A straight line and three angles. That straight line tells us that this is all going to add up to 180 degrees. So you have the measure of this angle, 65 degrees, plus the measure of this angle, which is x, plus the measure of this angle, which is x, is equal to 180 degrees. So I'm going to simplify this. It's going to be 65 plus x is 2x. Now we can go ahead and solve it. So I'm going to subtract 65 from both sides. And we get that 2x is equal to 115 degrees. And then I can divide both sides by 2, and I get that x is equal to 57.5 degrees. Same answer as before. Okay, but just a different way of approaching it. So this method didn't involve any vertical angles, only the supplementary relationship between the angles. The other way that we looked at it used vertical angles to figure this out, okay? So like I said, so many different ways of approaching this to find the different angles. I love these problems because they're like puzzles. It's like you have to decode it and figure it out and use your logic and the things that you know about these angles to find the measure of all of them. All right, Bobcats, have a wonderful day and keep the questions coming.